All right, Baruch Hashem, we are back. Again, so nice to meet people in America that are actually following these Tanya Sherman and enjoying them, which is such a great schus. But I was actually on the plane with the Vizhnitzer Rebbe's son, and he was saying that his father, Yisrael, okay, so his father tells everyone now the Olam has to learn Tanya. Today you can't manage without Tanya. Everyone, that's what the Vision of Rebbe's son, everybody has to learn Tanya. He was on my flight, so Lamaisa, Rabboisa, and then I was sitting next to another guy. Actually, he was looking at me the whole time, he was peering away. He's like, "Are you Chabad?" So I said, "I happen not to be, but what do you have to be Chabad to learn this?" And he was giving me große Torahs. Wow, it's gewaldig. Chazda Hashem. We're back, Rabbi said, Perikei. We're holding by the Zois Maili Yaseu. Let me just give the Olam a little bit of a summary of where we have been holding up until now, just so we just dive right back into Perikei. We've been discussing Be'ikah, the godless of learning Torah over any other mitzvah. It's an amazing, amazing idea that Torah is the greatest mitzvah of everything, and he's going to explain why. What we've said so far was this idea, what we explained as wrapping our brain around an idea. That when we understand something, we put our seichel, our intellect into something, we actually become immersed in that thing. And Torah is the only thing that has that incredible attribute, which means, as we've explained previously in previous parakim, Tanya has told us that the Rabbeinu Shalom and Torah is one. Mimela, when you learn Torah, you are becoming kaviyachol one with the Rabbeinu Shalom in the greatest way possible, which is what we explained, how a person can have, even though we said less machshava tfisa b'chlal, even though you can't chat the Rabbeinu Shalom, but when you learn Torah, in some degree, you actually are. Okay? So that's what we've been discussing until now. I want to finish off the parak. It's such a beautiful thing. There's a lot to discuss of it. Let's see how we can get to, because we've been lacking the last week, so we just have to get into a bit more Tanya. V'zois mala yisayra gdoila v'nifla le'ein kates. And this is the gewaldige, great, unbelievable maila. Asher b'mitzvahs yedias ha'Torah v'hasagosa al kol ha'mitzvahs ma'asos. Okay? In other words, this is the maila of knowing and mastering the Torah, which is way superior to any of the other mitzvahs. Va'afilu al mitzvahs hatuluyos b'dibur, even mitzvahs that are, so to speak, dependent on, connected to dibur, like for example, Kriyat Shema or Birchas Hamazon, which are very holy dibur. These are holy speeches, right? Kriyat Shema, unbelievable. Birchas Hamazon. Va'afilu al mitzvahs Talmud Torah shebedibur. That means the mitzvah Talmud Torah, as we know, has two parts. Part number one is literally learning the Torah with your mouth. That's the simple idea of learning Torah. And then there's a deeper level. Part number two is the knowing and the understanding of the Torah. Over here, the Tanya is discussing part number two, which is the knowing and understanding of the Torah, which is the greatest milah, greater than the first part of Torah. So he just said that learning Torah is greater than any mitzvah, even a mitzvah that's tali b'dibur. Ki al yedei kol ha-mitzvah shedibur ma'isa. Through a person doing mitzvahs dibur ma'isa, HaKadosh Baruch Hu malbish es ha-nefesh u'makifa or Hashem merosh v'ad ragla. As we've explained, it, so to speak, clothes our neshama when we do mitzvahs. U'biyediyas ha-Torah, the knowledge, the knowing, the understanding of Torah, milvad sha'seichel melubash b'chachmas Hashem. Apart from the fact that the seichel is, so to speak, wrapped around what we said at the beginning of the chapter in the chachmas Hashem. Hine gam chachmas Hashem bekirboy. The chachmas Hashem is now inside you. Masha haseichel masik v'toivus u'makim b'sichloi masha efshaloi litbois u'lahasik b'diyas ha'Torah ishkev yisichloi v'korchi diyosoi v'sagosoi b'paradis. Which means Torah is completely different to any other mitzvah. Because every other mitzvah is physical. Putting on tefillin, for example, eating matzah, shaking a lulav. These are physical acts. Now you could tie the tefillin straps as tight as you want around your hand or on your head, but they're not you. It's a separate entity. It doesn't become one with you. You're doing a mitzvah, which is a beautiful, amazing thing. When it comes to Torah, you become one with the Torah. Right? And as you can see here, the Ramchal, by the way, also, Derech Hashem, also splits up the idea of Torah into two parts. There's the learning of Torah and there's the absorbing of Torah. Here we're discussing the absorbing of the Torah in this case over here. Ulefi shebiyediyas haTorah. And again, not talking about regular, simple learning the words of Torah, but the ideas, the understanding, the comprehension of the Torah. The Torah is, so to speak, dressing your neshama, and your seichel is immersed inside that. Lochein, therefore, nikres b'shem lechem u'mozoin hanefesh. We find many places in the Torah that Torah is called lechem. It's called our sustenance, our bread. We find it in the Zohar Kodesh. There's a Gemara in Chagiga Yudalid Sukkah Daf Nun Beis Mishlei, also in Perek Chof Hei. We find in other places that Torah is like food becomes absorbed in a person, just like food becomes absorbed into your blood. He's going to explain. Ki kemoi shahalechem agashmi zones haguf kishmachnisei b'soichai v'kibay mamish v'nebach shom liyais damobasa gibsoroi. Just like when you eat something, what happens? When you eat something, it becomes a part of you. It gives you sustenance, it gives you life. It's your life source, because without food, you'll die. Mainly when you eat something, it becomes absorbed into you, it becomes a part of your fiber, into your blood, into your bones. And that's how you live, that's how you can continue. Kach b'yediyas haTorah. So too with yediyas haTorah. V'asagoso, b'nefesh ha'odam, shalom do hiktiv. You learn it well. Bi'iyun. Sichloi, al shenit peses, besichloi, misachedes, imoi, v'hoyu talking about when it becomes one with you, you understand it, you chap it, you wrap your brain around it, as we said in the beginning of the perek. Nase mozoin lenefesh v'chayim b'kirba, b'chaya chayim, ein soy baruch hu amalubash b'chachmasoi, v'toirosoi b'kirbai. So just like food is the chiyas of a person, it sustains me. When I eat food, it becomes part of me. So too, kaviyachol, when I learn Torah, and I'm ayin in it, and I understand it, and I comprehend it, it's my chiyas, it becomes part of who I am. Right? That's what he says. V'zeu shekoso, this is the pshat in the pasuk in Tehillim. David HaMelech says, v'soyrascha b'soich meyoi. My Torah is in my innards, it's in my inside. What does that mean? Is that a nice vart? No. It means what the Tanya is explaining. That when you learn Torah, it becomes a chelik of who you are. It becomes inside you. It gives you sustenance, it gives you chiyas, it gives you life. Or commercial course by Yitzchayim Sham Mem Dalet, maybe Mem Gimel, Perek Gimel. Shelevushe neshomas began Eden hein hamitzvos. The levushe haneshomas in Gan Eden are the mitzvahs. Okay, which basically means that the difference between Torah and mitzvahs is the difference between levush, clothing, and mozoin, food. A levush, clothing, is an addition to your body. It's not your body. It's not you. It's in addition to your body. You have clothing around it, surrounding your body. So that's mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are additions to our neshama. Torah, though, is not that. Torah is not an addition to who we are. Torah is a mozon. It's our chiyas. It gives us who we actually are. Okay? In fact, in the Sefer Likutim, from the Arizal, he brings down that when a neshama wants to enter Gan Eden, there's a voice that's heard, some kind of screaming, that you'll eat the bread of the Torah that you learnt down in that world. Which means the neshama in Gan Eden requires food and clothing to be able to be in Gan Eden, to be nana meziv hashchina. And that, by the way, the Baal Tanya and the Geras HaKodesh explains why this is so and what's the mahalach, how a neshama enters Gan Eden. Not for now, right? In the Geras HaKodesh, if we get there, the Baal Tanya explains that by Arichos also. But what he's saying is that the mitzvahs are the garments of the soul to protect it from revealing and from absorbing too much of a revelation. And the Torah basically allows us, enriches the capacity to absorb all of this revelation in that case. This that he said learning, what does he mean? What type of learning? Any learning? No. Not just learning to understand. Lishma learning. Now, we always understand the Shema means for the proper reason, right? We will say, right, even if you're not learning the Shema, even if you're not learning for the right reasons, learn for the wrong reasons, and eventually you'll get to the right reasons. So what Lishma does he mean? He explains very clearly, Heilige Baal Tanya, V'lishma, hainu, meaning, Kedei lekashe, nafshei laHashem, al yedei hasogas haTorah ish kafi sechloi, k'mo shekosu creates chaim. That means that the reason, the kavanah of what you're learning while you're learning it, is to connect your neshama with the Rabbeinu Shalom. Now, normally lishma is a maila. It's a maila. And as you're learning, okay, great. And another maila, you want to go higher madrega? Oh, that's to learn lishma. That's very good. Nefesh HaChaim also says that. You want to do a mitzvah? Great. Do it Lishma, it's on an even higher madrega. That's Gavaldik. The Tanya is saying over here, it's actually ma'akiv in that case. Because at the end of the day, a mitzvah is an action. So therefore, even if you didn't do it Lishma, the accomplishment, the result is still there. I did the result. I did the action. I shook the lulav. I put on the tefillin. Okay, it wasn't Lishma. The action was there. It worked. However, Tanya is over here by Torah, it's very different. In order for Torah to become a part of who I am, it has to be Lishma. Only if I believe it's MS and I want to connect my neshama to the Rabbi Shalom when I learn Torah, that's when it becomes a part of me. That's when it becomes a part of who I am. And we'll continue the last thing over here in the brackets. When he finishes the perek, he's going to answer a kasha. And he's going to say, hold on a second, what's the big deal? Torah is greater than everything? 1 minute. Don't you need also clothing and also food? So he said, mitzvahs are the clothing, Torah is the food. Very good, I need both. I need to be clothed and I need to have food. So let me do mitzvahs and Torah. Good. Why is Torah the greatest? Listen to what he says. V'hamozain hi bechinas or penimi. Right, the mozain is the bechina of the or, the inner light, to internalize this divine light. V'halavushim, right, the levushim of bechinas makifim. Right, this is basically the sensitivity to allow this divine light to transcend, which is something that generally cannot be internalized. V'lachein omu rabbeinu zal shel talmud Torah shoklu keneged kol mitzvahs. Learning Torah is keneged all of the mitzvahs. Why? Lefisha mitzvahs hein levushim levad. Mitzvahs are only levushim. It's only clothing. Okay? V'haTorah hi mozain v'gam levush lenefesh hamaskeles. Torah has both milas. Torah is the milah of mozain and also levush. Shemislabesh ba be'iyuna v'limuda v'kol shekain. Kishamotzim b'pivadiba, for sure when you say the Torah with your mouth, shahevel adibur, the hevel that's coming out, or when you speak, nasa bechinas or makiv kamishakos pre-8 chaimas over here. So over here to Misaka to summarize, he's explained that Torah is both mozain and levush. The seichel wraps around the chochmas of Torah when you learn it, and the hevel adibur is or makiv as well. The mitzvahs are only the levush, so he's just explained that Torah is the greatest mitzvah that exists. It's what gives us a chiyas in this world and in the next world. And Be'ez Hashem, b'siyata d'shmaya, we shall continue tomorrow.